here we're gonna see AWS CLI installation and configuration, kubectl and EKS installation, and we're gonna create our AWS EKS cluster. So let's start with the AWS CLI installation. So we need to run sudo apt install AWS CLI, and we just check for the version just to make sure that it's installed. So AWS -- version. Here we are, that's our terminal, that's the version that we got. So everything went good, and make sure you're under the user Jenkins. Create AWS access key. So we need this access key to have permissions and to configure the AWS CLI. So you go to your username option, you click on credential security, and you download the file. Also you need to save your access key ID and your secret. So here you click on your user on the top right, click here security credentials, and after you open the tab access key, access ID, secret, and you click on create secret, create access key and then you show your access key, so it will be visible only once. That's why you need to save it, to copy and paste it somewhere. So after closing it, you won't be able to retrieve it again. So copy it and save it somewhere safe, just to be able to configure your CLI. So you see here we have different tabs, password, MFA, and we have here the access key. So you need to click here and you create new access key, just here. So you download the file with your access key. Don't forget to do it, you download it, because you need it in your working directory. So here you have just some information telling you that you can't retrieve it, so you'll be able to see it just only once. Here, copy and you download it from here. So now you got it, and you put it on your working directory. So you get the region in which your EC2 instance has been launched from. So for me it was North Virginia, so US East 1, but I'm just going to show you how to find it. You click on the top here, you see where your region is written, and you get the right part. For me, US East Virginia, but you get there's the left and the right column, you get the part on the right column. That will be the one that you need for your AWS CLI configuration. So let's now do the configuration of it, now that we have all the information needed. So you get a data configs to interact with the cloud. So you run first AWS configure in your terminal. So you'll be prompted to fill in information. So you leave the last field blank, which is the format. So you see the example here for me, access key, secret, and after I put the region, and after I left just the last output format clear, so there's nothing. And after I just press enter, and I got it done. So sudo su Jenkins, just make sure you work under the Jenkins user, it's very important. And after you do your configuration, here US East, and you put that, and after we're gonna install kubectl, same, you're gonna get the packages from this curl command, and after you're gonna change the permissions, so execution, and you're gonna move kubectl to your user local bin. I'm just gonna copy it there, move it there. So here are the commands, here we get the packages, here it has downloaded, that's good. And after we make sure that we're still under the Jenkins, yes, user, very important, change the permissions, move it, and we check for the version. Normally when you check for the version, you'll get like an HTML. It's just showing you here, it should return an HTML page in your terminal, something like that, just to give you an example. Alright, so now we can do the next installation. kubectl is for Kubernetes, that's the commands, and EKSctl installation, that's more for AWS EKS, that's where our Kubernetes instance is. So same, we get the packages, we download the packages, and after we pipe it on the unzip it, it does everything in once, and after we move it to a user local bin. So same here, that's what I did down there. You see, I'm still under the Jenkins user. I moved it, and I checked for the version 0.85.0. That's good. So after we can create our first AWS EKS cluster. So cluster configs commands is breaking down the commands used to create the cluster. So the command is pretty long, so here I'm just breaking it down for you. Name of the cluster. So I'm going to call mine hospital app cluster, because it's for an hospital. That means his application deployed for the doctors. And here we have the version 1.17 and the region, the name of the region, you remember that's the one we got at the beginning, and the node group, the name and the worker nodes. So the nodes, I'm going to call them clinic worker nodes, and after the type of the instance, so T2 micro, that's the free tier instance, and the number of the nodes, 2 nodes. So there'll be 2 nodes, as if you remember the diagram. So you run the command by doing EKSctl create cluster. So you see that's where we need EKSctl. We create the cluster with this command, but you see here the version is 1.21 because the previous version didn't work. It was the old version, so I needed to use the 1.21 to make it work. So I had some issues. You will have some issues doing this tutorial, but if you follow along, normally it should be alright for you. Here we are. So you just need to make some search through Google, and you're gonna find why your version is not working, etc. And you're gonna get some advice. That's good. So it might take, beware, it might take some time actually to create the cluster. It can take up to 30 minutes or more. So for me it took just 15 minutes, so pretty lucky. Navigate to EKS now from your web browser by typing EKS in the search bar to verify that your cluster status. So EKS in the search bar, and you go inside Elastic Kubernetes services. So here we're in the EKS dashboard, hospital app cluster. You remember that's the name of the cluster. And now the status is still creating 1.21 for the version, or you can just check through your terminal by doing kubectl get nodes. That's you see, for example, here I just show you what it shows. Mine is ready. It shows the status ready when I do kubectl get nodes. So what we did here, we installed the AWS CLI, we created the access key, we configured it, and after we installed the kubectl and the EKSctl to be able to interact with Kubernetes, and we created our first cluster, EKS cluster, which is good. So next and the last video will be about the deployment. So we're gonna add the deployment YAML file to our Git repository. We're gonna create credentials in Jenkins, so for Git repository and for Docker Hub, and we're gonna create and configure the pipeline for Jenkins, and you'll be happy of yourself for your success in deploying an app on AWS. And that's pretty advanced actually way to deploy application. So hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next video.